So, if you've been a veteran on my channel, you will know that I once was a Yu-Gi-Oh! Content creator. Mainly Yu-Gi-Oh! I tried some Pokemon stuff, which will come back. I just gotta get a new spin like I'm doing with Yu-Gi-Oh! Right now. If you also know my channel, you would also know I'm a big VTuber fan. So I tried a new thing. I burned out from Yu-Gi-Oh! Like 1 year ago, so I kinda stepped out about doing content for the community or for the game. But now I wanna come back and give it my own personal spin. So what I wanna do is tribute some VTubers with a deck thematic to them. As I said multiple times, I'm a veteran fan. I watched the VTubers since their inception at the end of 2019 and the start on 2020. It's already been 4 years, whatever. So, I think that the best way I can provide to tribute them, to show some appreciation, that word,
The Dragon!
and I don't know, make something cute, funny, nice, is to make a Yu-Gi-Oh! Deck based on their model idea, based on their memes. You get the idea. And the first one I wanna do is a certain VTuber that needs all the support and love in the world, as in right now, which is Dokibird. Let's see how it went. I needed to think about what kind of archetype she would be most represented with. I tried to go the easier tangent, but I took a decision later on. So, the rules I'm gonna apply for this series, because yes, I plan it to make more VTubers, because I already got some ideas about some other VTubers. So, stay tuned if you wanna see more. The rules I wanted is the deck I'm gonna produce for the VTuber in question is gotta be as much as playable as it was a tournament ready deck. Now, I'm not planning on doing extremely serious stuff, but I want these decks to be usable. So if you wanna replicate these decks and bring it to your locals, just to have fun, to mess around with people, be fun, and be a fan of your Kamiyoshi even outside the streaming, you can do it and still try to perform well. And also, the deck needs to be as compliant as possible within the VTuber concept. Now, this might be the hardest rule of all. I hope I can get better even more at doing this, but this is my Dokibird deck. My thought process at the start was, well, that's easy, I'm just gonna take birds with weapons attached to them. So I thought of Raid Raptor. Raid Raptor is an Xyz archetype with these big birds doing a lot of stuff. The big problem is the way Raid Raptor wins is not thematic enough. What I mean by that is to win as a Raid Raptor player on the opponent turn, you gotta summon Kali Yuga, which is a big negate, all field negate monster. The problem with Kali Yuga is, first of all, I don't like Kali Yuga. I just hate the concept of such monster, but is not compliant, is not thematic, is not a bird with guns, it's not a tomato, it's not a doggo like Doki's dog. So yeah, I discarded the idea of a Raid Raptor team deck. So I needed to think more. I needed to think about, she will still probably use something like people with firearms. The best archetype I can think of is Tri-Brigade. Now, Tri-Brigade is an archetype of winged beast, beast warriors, and beasts that use guns to fight. They're very popular, they are very powerful, they have a lot of tools that can be used to achieve a proper competition. So I tried to mix around Tri-Brigade and Raid Raptors. The problem was that Raid Raptors, more often than not, happen to be a brick, and so unusable cards, and most importantly, these cards they tend to summon are outside of the concept. So I ultimately decided to completely discard the idea of Raid Raptor and tried a more pure Tri-Brigade version. So, as you can see, this is the list. This looks pretty standard. I used 3 Fractal, 2 Mercuriers, this is very important, 3 Keras, 3 Kit, 3 Nerval, 2 Revolt, because you may never know, and then we have the engine movers and supports like hand traps and such. So I have a Rescue Cat just to be sure to have at least 2 Tri-Brigade monsters on the field. We have Droll and Lockbird to avoid during our opponent's turn for them to add too many cards to their hand. Ash Blossom is a staple. She blocks opponents from adding cards to either the end, special summon from the deck, and send cards to the graveyard, which is probably one of the most powerful effects as in right now, and then infinite impermanence. These last cards are used like you are going second, you want to stop your opponent from comboing in your face uncontested. So these are just useful cards, they're staples, we're gonna need them always. I got 3 Fire Formation Tanky. This card allows you to add a level 4 or lower Beast Warrior from your deck to your hand, so you can add Fractal and start on your combo from Fractal. You'll see from the replays. Then I tried to give this deck my little spin. We do not have Vertanaconda anymore, but I think this can still be pulled off as an extra. If you draw it, you can use it with no problems. I added Spring Guns Kit, which is the evolution from Tri-Brigade Kit, is essentially the same person, which will allow us to search up either branded in white or branded in ice spirits. These cards will help us to get some cards we'll see right now. I decided to add the Fallen of Albat because it allows us to create more powerful monsters. Thanks to how Tri-Brigade works, we can use Branded in White without locking us into fusion monsters like Branded Fusion. We can get to Ringbram, which is another wing beast monster. Doesn't look like one. It's lore related. I know it's weird, but it's a very good negate monster. Or we can get Mirror Jade, which is formed with a link monster. And Tri-Brigade is a link-based archetype, so we're gonna summon this when we need it, even if we don't need Ringbram. I added Bringrand to ease the search with Branded in Ice Spirits. This card is very slept on, but I think is very powerful. Let's go to the boss monsters. The monsters that will help us win the game. So I added Bucephalus. This card I'm pretty sure will never come up. I just added it as a placeholder, so you can change for like 3 copies of the real boss monster of this deck, which is Shurek the Ominous Omen. This card if gets summoned of every time a wing beast warrior monster is special summoned, you can banish any card on the field, which is very optimal, very powerful. And you're gonna summon it thanks on your opponent turn, thanks to Tri-Brigade Revolt. You'll see on the replays how this will work. I added to Rugal because it's a basic link tree. It's still pretty good. Will allow you to special summon people, so pretty good. Birbram is the card that will allow us to search for Revolt. So it's a very important card to have, especially because you wanna link it away to search it. Then I added to Ferrigit, and now we're getting to the weirder stuff. So I added Apollousa, Bow of the Goddess. I can explain the addition of Apollousa just by saying she's a goddess at shooting. Her entire thing is being good with a bow. So you can interpret this as Doki herself. So yeah, it's a pretty good card. I think it still fits. It may be a bit of a stretch, but as I told you, gotta try. And another card I put, just for example, just to get you to use this list as much as possible, even though I never used it in the duels you are gonna see to win, but I added Access Code Talker. It's a very good card to finish off your opponent. I added it because it fits in the deck, as it requires different attribute link monsters to be summoned, and as you can see, we got plenty of them, but I never used it. I just put it for the sake of completing the 15 extra deck list. If you wanna go full thematic, you can remove Access Code Talker and maybe use more Mirror Jades, more Bringrand. More power to you. I just put it just to be here, just to let you know that if you wanna bring this deck outside in a more serious competition, you can add this card. but if you wanna go full tribute, you can remove this card, even though it's very costly. It costs quite a lot, so I cannot blame you. It costs like double Appaloosa, so yeah. As an extra card I put is, of course, the tomato. We all know that Doki's true identity is a tomato. That's just a skin suit we see streaming every time. So the extra card here is the tomato. So yeah, this is the list, and we shall see how it plays. So this is a little tutorial against the against nobody. I will not use Ash Blossom for the sake of tutorial, and as you can see, I teamed the cards as well with the back. I could not find a way to include a dog in the deck, so I just added Doki Dog as a card sleeve, and on the other side there's our Dokibird trajectory. So, as you can see, I use Tanky to search Fractal. I will discard the Fractal to dump bot kit that will dump Narval, that will search for a Tri-Brigade monster. I already had Keras. I'll use Keras discarding Mercurier. Mercurier is gonna activate its effects. Keras allows you to link summon. I used it to make Rinbram, and then I linked away to make Appaloosa and set Revolt. This is not a hard deck to use. If you watch many of the most recent decks in Yu-Gi-Oh, you're gonna notice that the game is not quite how you remember it from like 10 or 15 years ago. The decks are more complex and more convoluted into big combos that will summon like 5 huge monsters. But not all decks are in that way. You can choose your playstyle. You can choose a mid-range deck like this one. You can choose a big combo deck to essentially block every single thing your opponent has. Or you can choose a control deck and dictate the speed of the duel as much as you want and slow it as much as you can to win the duel. So I'm gonna try use on the other hand as many stuff as possible. I'm gonna negate the Fractal with Appaloosa. I will negate. I will banish the Fractal while chain locking my my Shurei. Chain locking is essentially using your own effect to protect an effect you want to go through. So as you saw, I used my Tri-Brigade monsters that I recycled from my banished and graveyard to summon Shureg, and after I triggered Shureg's effect, I declared the other Tri-Brigades to avoid a chain for a negate from any possible card the opponent can have. At this point, they cannot really have a negate, but it may happen. Just try it. If this card, for example, was to search or special summon stuff, the opponent could go Ash Blossom, but if you chain lock your effects, they cannot chain Ash Blossom. It depends. There's also a discourse on priority, turn priority, so it may still be able to use Ash Blossom. It's a very complicated explanation, but we'll get to it when it will happen during one of these episodes. if the occasions ever pops up. So this is essentially the tutorial. I negated the Albads, and from here I can just win the game. I do not have lethal, but at this point, with all the negates we still have, it's pretty much over. The opponent cannot do anything. And I probably could have played this way better. So, let's see against real people how it went. Ignore I do not sleep, guys, so don't worry about it. This is AM, so yeah, don't worry about it. I'm fine. So, we go first with Summon Rescue Cat to search 2 Tri-Brigade, which will have their effect negated, but we care about their graveyard effect. We can't really do much. I probably even screwed up a bit. This guy is playing a very weird deck, and he makes a mistake. Like, he gives me a material on in the graveyard. So I just try to negate. He negates. I attack. He will destroy his entire field, and I'm just gonna rinse repeat all of this, and I'm just gonna set Revolt and pass. And I have 2 entraps on hand. I negate his field spell, I activate Revolt on his turn, I summon Shureg, I banish, I chainlock my Shureg, I add more cards to my hand, I banish his summon limit, and I can just play it off normally, like nothing happened. My opponent was, of course, a very casual player, but this is just for display purpose, but he couldn't really do anything. We played a very weird deck, and it's weird because the Horus archetype is very powerful, so I don't understand why use these weird cards. It's whatever. This second replay is a replay where we go second against a Dark World Danger deck, which is a pretty weird deck again, but it can get annoying. So he's just gonna set up a field, I'm just gonna go for the Rescue Cat, and I drew the Tomato. This can be a problem, but let's see how it goes. I just activate my Tri-Brigade's effects. I can special summon Keras, punish to get Ferrigit, trigger my Mercurier, get a Pollusa on the field, trigger 2 effects, and thanks to Ferrigit, I can shuffle back the Tomato, so I got rid of the Tomato. I feel more powerful than ever. My opponent is dumping quite the monsters with a lot of attack, so he's planning probably to deal big damage at my life points. I can try as much as I can to negate his effects. I get Shureg on the field again and banish his big monster. So I mitigated the damage a bit, I lose my Apollousa, but it's still ongoing. My opponent is just gonna combo off, which is possibly problematic. One very hard thing with weird decks is you don't really know what they do. You don't know the optimal play, the normalized play compared to meta decks, which is what usually a lot of players bet on when they use unorthodox decks. So he summoned Sky Crisis Typhon. This card is very powerful because it blocks all monsters with 3000 or more attack to activate their effects. And also they can bounce a monster on end. So my Shureg can't really activate its effects. The only problem with his play is that thanks to his field card, he raised his Sky Crisis attack to 3200, which basically falls under his condition. So I still need to see the ruling behind this. The continuous effect about the 3000 lock is still ongoing, so I need to check that, but let's consider just this as a problem card. I draw for turn, I activate Infinite Impermanence to block his effects, and he's just gonna forfeit it because I can OTK him from here probably. So this deck is quite solid. You can absolutely use this as a fun deck to tribute Dokibird, even when you're dueling with friends. You can replicate it on Master Duel when the time comes. Just have fun. Try it if you want. If you wanna change some stuff like I can't stop dying. Like using access code talker or completely remove it. You can remove the tomato if you don't wanna meme or risk the brick I had in the previous game. This is my tribute to Dokibird as a Yu-Gi-Oh player. I hope everyone enjoyed. So if you also wanna drop a like, and if you wanna see what other VTubers I will cover, you can subscribe. Even because a bit of study is required for this kind of video, because you gotta search up the correct archetype and see how it may work. So it's a very difficult kind of video to make, but it was pretty fun, especially since I can put memes about the streamer like the tomato again. So yeah, if you enjoyed, like, subscribe, comment your opinion on this if you like this idea, and until next time, bye!